Hi everybody, it's Raja here. I have my good friend Alain who's here with us. Alain is a very good friend of mine. He's really an interesting person, a little bit unusual. He's done so many things in life, things that people wouldn't really. His track is a little bit like he didn't do a linear track in his life. He's been doing so many things. He had a lot of successes in everything that he has done. He studied at Concordia. What did he study? Finance, no?
Finance, yes.
Finance. He worked as a financial advisor. He opened his dancing school with his partner, and he does Airbnb. He did Airbnb in the past. He had apartments. He's a photographer. He does a lot of things, and he's a podcaster too. So, yeah, I find that interesting, and I think that a lot of people would like to have this kind of lifestyle, but at the same time, they probably feel maybe scared to jump in and to do whatever they want to, they feel like doing, or maybe they need, I don't know, somebody telling them something. I'm not sure. So yeah, I was interested to see how did you come up with all of that, and how do you go about life to take decisions like that and to say, okay, today I'm going to be this or that, and then you succeed and it worked with you.
Well, I I never made it my interest to be different than anybody else. When I came here as an immigrant, my dream was to be like everybody else, to get a job and work 40 years and then retire 65 with a pension or savings accounts and do like everybody else. Okay, so now the first impediment was that I couldn't do like everybody else. I didn't have enough money to pay for my education, so there I couldn't get a loan like other people do. As an immigrant, I didn't have credit, so I had to start hustling
Okay.
and working under the table to be able to have enough money to pay for schooling. Okay, so that's the first a little bit of difference from the regular track, which is getting into student debt and this and that. I just didn't have that available to me. Otherwise, I would have maybe like so many million Canadians who had gotten into student debt. Okay, so then I studied finance and I graduated. But if you notice, I have a deep Spanish accent, and that played against me when I was looking for a job. My name is French, Alain Guillot, so that opened many doors for me. But then I just couldn't get a job because as soon as I was face to face with the interviewer and he or she would detect my Spanish accent, they just passed me over to the next candidate. Eventually, I did get a job as a salesperson of financial products.
Okay.
But my job as a salesperson of financial products was to sell crappy financial products that would make the company, my employer, rich, and it would give me fat, juicy commission. But I was selling garbage. There was
What were you selling?
I was selling mutual funds with high expense ratio fees.
Okay.
So the company, my employer, would earn at least 50% of the money available, but the whole money invested was the client would run all the risk, would put all 100% of the capital, and he would only get 50% of the return of that investment.
I
And
see.
the other 50%, it will be for the company that didn't take any risk, that didn't do anything to accumulate that money. And it's just knowing that there are many other options available where clients have a better chance of getting rich or accumulating or saving money for their retirement, for the education of their kids or
Yeah.
whatever. I felt dishonest. I felt like a worse than a bank robber. Because a bank robber takes a little bit of money and that's a done deal. But as a seller of financial products, we take money every year out of someone's, and those persons don't know that they're being robbed.
And that's something that I really appreciate about you, is that you're somebody who has integrity, and even if you can make money or have advantages with a group of people or a company or whatever, if it's out of alignment with your values or your integrity, you say no and then you move on to something else. Unlike other people who, if the money is good, they stay there, even though it's not necessarily aligned with who they are, and it's not your case. And
Yeah,
it's something
well,
that
yeah,
I really appreciate.
well, I think I don't know how much of that is true. What I know is that the financial company encourage us to sell financial products to our friends and family first.
Okay.
And maybe if I was selling to
Yeah.
someone who I didn't know, a Joe Blow from the street, maybe I could have digested that. My morals could have been bought. But when I made a sale to a friend or to a family member, and I knew that I was screwing them, there's not amount of money that can compensate that feeling of being scumbag. Right?
Yeah.
So I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't do it. And every time I made a sale, my boss congratulated me, and I just felt like puking.
Wow.
Really. So it was just the most horrible experience being a financial salesperson who's selling horrible products, and it goes on every day. If you go to a local bank branch, they're gonna sell you things that are really not the best, and they will do it for with a smile. And you as a client, you think, "Wow, this person is really helping me." And then
Yeah.
20 or 30 years go on, and you see, wow, the economy is being great, everyone's getting rich, but my account doesn't reflect that.
Yeah. And I think that things are changing a little bit. I hope that people are becoming more conscious with time. I think that people are becoming more like this concept of conscious capitalism, which is not about the bottom line all the time. It's more about like how can we find something that's a win-win situation for the company and the people, the community.
Well, no, the bad news is that there's not that consciousness. People want to get rich, and the one thing that is changing is slowly, little by little, there are new regulations to protect the client. So it's because other persons have been feel that they have been taken advantage of, that finally have spoken up, or people like me who at one time were salesmen and say, no, this doesn't resolve anything. We are robbing our clients. We are committing fraud. And so little by little, those hundreds and thousands of voices are coming up. And finally, there is some changes in the regulation that says, hey, you have to disclose at least how much money you are robbing from your client. So there's a new regulation that, so now, because before it was invisible, you didn't know that there was someone putting a hand in your pocket every year. Now, there is, according to regulations, you get to see how much your financial advisor has taken out of your account for his own pocket. So that realization and that regulations is the thing that is changing a little bit the financial industry. So, but anyways, so I just couldn't do it, and I quit. And I quit because
and that was after you graduated.
Yes, after I graduated.
So you were in your 20s by the time.
No, I came here to Canada when I was in my 30s. So,
okay.
So a little bit later. So now I still want to follow this dream, this American or Canadian dream of getting a job, working full time, and this and that. But I was looking for a job, and while looking for a job, I decided to start taking dance classes because I had learned how to dance in a way to help me pay the bills until I found that job. So I still don't think there's nothing different about my way of thinking or being rebellious against the system of any of that. I'm still following the path that is being created for us by the media, by the government, by all the influence that we have. Except that while teaching, as I was doing that, I discovered that I was having fun teaching. I was dancing with beautiful girls who did their manicure and perfume and coiffure and lipstick. And there were hot, sexy girls coming, dancing with me and paying me for an hour of dancing. So I said, I'm not earning much money, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy. I'm popular. I feel like I'm someone in my community. I got the privilege of people having fun and being grateful and knowing the value that they are getting and being happy to pay for that value. So that was the beginning of my dance school that lasted about 10 years, and yes, it did become a great success, mostly because not because I was a great dance teacher, but because I learned marketing along the way. I learned how to expose myself and how at the beginning Facebook was new and I learned how to use it. And also I had a very low overhead. I was carrying like 10% less than everybody else. I had this enthusiasm and energy and desire to help. So that was the beginning of me living a different path. So
That's amazing. Like you had this American dream or Canadian dream at the beginning, and just like that, now you're totally different. The person that I know you now, so I'd like to see like how this transition happened over the years because you're totally different now. But I like that you followed your intuition. You didn't just go like, okay, I need to go and find a job and I must do this and that. No, if dance happened and it made you have a living and feel good about helping others and whatever, you were able to disconnect from the security of having a paycheck every 2 weeks or every 1 week, and you went with it. And same thing with your other things that you have done. I'm a little bit like that too. I like to follow my intuition as well and to go with the flow, man. Life is good.
well,
Life is
you know,
yeah,
just to be honest, there was fear
for sure,
because
for sure.
we have been taught that we had to get that weekly or bi-weekly paycheck, and it wasn't easy. It was only after a while that I saw that it was working out. That wow, you know, I managed to pay this month rent, and then wow, I paid the other month's rent, and I still have food in my refrigerator, and you know, just realizing that after a few months, then I said, oh, maybe this is a path that I could follow.
Mm.
So,
So it started.
so it was encouraged. It was encouraged, and it
Yeah.
wasn't a moment of enlightenment or rebellion. It was just discovering, trying new things, and one of those things happened to work out.
Yeah, yeah. But again, the good thing is that you followed it. You were able to have faith in whatever, despite the fear,
Right, right.
and you went for it.
Okay.
So this was your this was the beginning of the dance. By the way, you're still a dancer and a
I
dance
am a
teacher,
dancer.
and
If anyone wants dance
When-
classes, I charge $60 an hour, and it's a beautiful job.
okay, $60 per hour, beautiful job by Alain Guillot. He's a very good, very good dancer, very good dance teacher, and it's always fun to learn with him. I learned with him a little bit, and with his partner Cheryl, and me not being always the best, the most dance lover, and I still loved it with them because the atmosphere is really nice. So. And what came after? Did Airbnb come after, or
Well, what happened then is that the dance became an explosive success. It happened. There was good luck, good timing, and a lot of energy and love. And you know, when you do a business with love, and people can feel and sense that enthusiasm, the word gets around. So it was so much of a success that I feel that after a couple of years, 6, 7 years, I became a victim of my success.
Mm.
That means that things were going well, but I was working now 10 hours per day, 7 days a week.
wow?
And never mind, it's fun work because let's say I do a workshop on belly dancing and I hire this beautiful belly dance teacher, and then the next workshop is Indian dancing, and then we hire a TV star to come and teach at our studio for another 3 days of intensive workshop. So there was always a lot of activities, a lot of shows. We had about 200 students, new students every semester. But
Wow.
all that requires a lot of administration,
Mm.
a lot of marketing, a lot of behind the scenes work, and as even though the work is gratifying, it does take time to do a good job. So, and I didn't mind the first, second, third, fourth year. I didn't mind. I was so involved in the enthusiasm of serving our community and doing a good job that I didn't notice that I was working 10 hours per day, 7 days a week. But then I began to notice, like friends and family would invite me for dinner or coffee or to go and see them in my home country, and I would say, no, I'm busy. And that little voice began to get louder and louder, and I just began to resent how busy I am, who I was. And just one day, and I also was fortunate enough that I had accumulated enough money in my bank account to one day I said, I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
So I didn't close the school. What I did is that I stopped all promotion marketing effort, and a business without marketing is almost like a person without oxygen. So as soon as that happened, right away we took a big dip, and that death of our business took about a year. From not doing any effort in marketing to not having enough people to fill a dance class anymore. So that was the end of the business, and then after that, I decided to take a whole year sabbatical, not do anything, just smell the roses, join Toastmasters, spend time in the park, reading and sipping coffee in the coffee shop.
Okay, I see. So it was voluntary. It's not like the business wasn't good.
No,
You just
no,
felt
no,
like,
no,
okay,
no. It was-
I'm tired of it. I want to take a sabbatical and have some fun. And,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So then after that, now I say, okay, so what else am I going to do with my life? And
Yeah.
at that time, there was Airbnb was a new force coming to the city. And I said, wow, if I rent a couple of apartments or buy a couple of apartments and put them in Airbnb, I could make a nice amount of money and not slave myself. This was the main thing. Not slave myself to a full-time job, to 40 hours a week, or it was just, again, giving good customer service, making sure we have a nice portfolio of clean, beautiful properties with service, so
It's because you value your time. You don't want to be the slave of your job or whatever. You want to still you want to enjoy life and not be stuck working 10 hours a day.
well, I think entrepreneurship is almost like a drug. Once you discover that you can escape the grip of a 40-hour schedule with a boss on top of you dictating every movement. Once you discover that's possible, that you can do that on your own,
Yeah.
you are practically psychologically unable to work for somebody else.
Yeah.
So
I want to add something to this, or maybe say it a little bit differently. Once the person is okay with the uncertainty of not getting, like for example, enough money, but being able to save at other points, like with the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, or whatever, or like being independent, being an independent person. It's knowing how to deal with the uncertainty, and that takes a little bit of time. Me too. I was scared at the beginning when I started becoming independent. To know that you're going to be fine with the uncertainty, this takes a little bit of time. It took a little bit of time with me, but still I did it, and now I'm comfortable. I should say, even though sometimes it's stressful, other times it's so good because the money is so nice, especially for me in the summer now with Sparkle Window, I can make a good amount of money. So yeah, it takes some time to find the stability within the instability of being. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Okay, so that was it. We had a portfolio of properties, and we focus on serving the clients well. And then Airbnb is a platform where people rate you. You get 5 stars, and I became a super host, and that brings the exposure more and more. and I was able now to charge a premium as well. And that also was a nice business that I did for a couple of years until I got tired again. So that's maybe the.
I love it. I love that you get tired of something. Fuck, I'm gonna do something else. Yeah, no, it's
but
good,
I got tired after 6 years. So it's not like I'm changing my mind from one moment to the other. It's just I try something new. It works. I work hard. I give it my whole body, mind, and soul. And then at a given moment, then it starts to become stale. I hit a peak, and then at that moment, I would say I would look for other opportunities.
And it was during your Airbnb that the idea of doing photography came to you.
No, that's so. I closed my Airbnb business, and I went to another period of not doing anything. And then I was coaching someone, a girl, and she was telling me that she wanted to be a photographer, but she didn't have the courage to be a photographer. And I just say, look, you just have to jump in and start doing it. Don't deceive the client. Tell them that you are a new photographer, that you're a beginner, and charge them accordingly. And with experience, you will be able to offer service to a higher client, charge a higher price. Your skills will increase. Anyways, so the girl that I was coaching, she was too intimidated, and I said, "Listen, I'm gonna give it a try for you. I'm gonna show you that it works. That all you need is to buy a camera, just practice a little bit, and promote yourself. Be honest, and it does work." So I did it, not so much because I was in love for photography myself, but as an example to a person that I was coaching.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
And then, so I did it about my camera. I put an advertisement. I told the prospects that I was new, and people started calling me. And
That's so funny because you were coaching somebody to become it, and you became it.
right. So then I started liking it. I started liking being in weddings, in corporate events, being part of the party, and being on the know of things that are happening in the city. Such a speaker is coming over, and we need a photographer. My daughter is getting married. I need a photographer. And so I'm a social person, and as a photographer, I just show up, do a good work, and leave. I don't have to be part of the organization or how this service gonna happen or the other one. I just show up, do the work, and leave. And that's one of the things that I like about photography.
And you get to meet new people, and you get to see like different cultures, how they do their own events and weddings.
It's been amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
It's Arabs, Indian weddings, many North American weddings. Yeah, it's been Jewish events. It's just extraordinary.
And what's your website again? Alain Guillot Photography.
Alain Guillot Photography.
AlainGuillotPhotography.com.
Yes.
If anybody lives in Montreal and you want photo or video, he's your guy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And also public speaking with the
Public speaking starting as one of those dips where I didn't have a job and I didn't know what to do. I started doing public speaking as a way to keep my mind active, to learn a new skill, to meet new friends like you.
Yeah, like me. Yeah, which is great. And that also the public speaking led you to podcasting, or
No, podcasting led me to podcasting. I think podcast is a good way to constantly be learning. Like when you're washing your dishes, when you're going out for a run or walk or whatever, I mean, your body is active, but your mind is idle. So if I listen to a good educational podcast at that time, then you are leveraging your time. So I was always listening to podcasts when I was at the gym working out, when I was doing some kind of cleaning, and I fell in love with that, with just having smart conversation with someone. And one day I just bought a microphone. I opened a website. I paid for hosting service for the podcast, and I started asking people that I admire or people that I think are smarter than me to do interviews with me. And yeah, that's another thing that, well, it's not a business. Actually, I don't earn any money out of it, but it's so fun and it's so enriching. I get to speak to so many smart people.
And I think that's really important to do something for the simplicity and the love of it. Because these days, with the social media and the pressures from the social media and YouTube, everybody wants to be an Instagrammer, everybody wants to be a YouTuber or whatever, and which is good. But at the same time, let's not forget about why are we doing what we're doing. We're doing it for the fun. We're doing it, or for the money, if you want to do it for the money, or for the betterment of your spirit or whatever. But it's so easy to mud it, to confuse things these days, because there's so much information out there, and so much info that people lose why they do what they do. And to me, it's always important to go back to the basics. For example, okay, I'm doing this because I want to do this because of these reasons, and not because I want to become this or that. And I think that's important for everybody to keep in mind, to go back to the simplicity of doing something, because at the end of the day, it's every day is precious, and every day is going. We can't go back to tomorrow, and life is short, and it's not only about things. Some things will work, and other things won't. But what I find has been really good for me is to keep things simple, to the thing, to the core of it. So, for example, I'm doing this interview with you because I feel like doing it with you.
Good. Thank you
It's
for
not to
inviting me.
be, yeah, and it's fun, guys. It's just it's fun to do. Yeah. Anyhow, so that was a little comment like that. So yeah, you're good at following your path, your own path, and I think that you learned how to be yourself and not be somebody else, and not you your footsteps are your own. You didn't necessarily follow anybody's path, and yeah, it seems like you have anything to say about that.
Well, it's a mixture of curiosity and yeah, and not being actually the major reason is just not being able to find a regular job.
Yeah, so it was a necessity at the
I,
beginning.
I don't think I could just now apply and say I'm willing to go into your cubicle from 9 to 5 and and follow whatever directions you are giving me. So I feel like it's mostly my inability to work for somebody else that leads me into experimentation and
Yeah.
discovery and also
I
the
get that,
curiosity.
yeah.
If you're curious about things, then and you follow that curiosity, and face it, we are all curious as children. The more common questions you ask your parent was why. Why this? Why that? And you set up to discover the why of things. And somehow along the way, we lose that curiosity. But if we keep that curiosity alive and just follow the rabbit hole, as they say, you never know where you're going to end up. But hopefully, it will be a place in life where you are happy with the results.
Sure, sure. And I love that. This sense of wonder that we all have,
Yeah.
that we had when we were kids, and unfortunately we lose some of it when we become adults. Maybe not everybody, but it's nice to keep it. And me too. I love to be curious and to follow my curiosity. And
Yes.
I would say that I'm a seeker or a wanderer or a discoverer.
Well, when
And
you're
me too.
curious, you are alive. So yeah, you
Yeah.
follow your intuition and you follow your curiosity, and who knows where you are going to end up.
Yeah, I love that, my man.
Thank you, Raya. Thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me.
Yeah, sure. if you want to share maybe your photography website again and whatever you want to share.
Yeah, the one thing that I like to promote the most is my podcast. Is the Alain Guillot podcast, and there I have interview with interesting individuals. I have one with Raya one time. So yeah, go and check it out, and thank you for watching.
Thank you. Hey.